VoT Network presents the Voices of Terminus show. With your hosts, Lexer, Yarnilla, and Joshua.
What, like 3 years?
Welcome everyone to the Voice of Terminus show. Sorry for the technical difficulties. As you know, it's not a VoT show without them. We haven't been around now for a week now. So so we had to skip last week's show because of real life commitments. But we're back. Josh isn't with us today, but we've got Lex with us. Hello, Lex.
Yeah, I'm the booby prize.
And then we have Shy in the background. Hello, Shy.
Hello.
And we're joined today by Volley to sit down for this lovely player Q&A. Hello.
Good evening.
Yeah, so before we kick this off, we apologise for the stuttering. My PC base, as you guys know, has been going off for the last 6-7 months now. And it's basically finally reached its prime where it's basically clearly dead. I will be replacing the board next week. Vicious, thanks a lot for sending me those spare parts, and hopefully that will get me across the finish line until I have the cash to get myself a new system. It's definitely in dire need. But anyway, enough of me rambling on and whining about my PC being dead. You can pick up the reasonable recording on YouTube after this, so bear with us with the stuttering.
To hit record.
No, I've got the record button on, don't worry about that. Anyway, so Volley basically reached out on Twitter, kind of like interacted with Lex, so I reached out to Volley to see if we can get him onto the show, and here he is. So Volley, tell us a little bit about yourself and your gaming background.
Right, gaming background, as I discussed with Lex earlier. It goes back a little way. My earliest memory is probably my dad bringing in to the house a Philips G7000. That's one for you.
Wow.
For those of you outside of Europe and the UK, that's a Magnavox Odyssey 2. And I think we probably got that towards the end of its life. And that would have been about 1982. So, I've had video games in my life, computer games, whatever you want to call them, pretty much for the entirety of my life, as I would have been about 4 at that point. But yeah, throughout the 80s, it was. I think the next machine was a Commodore Plus 4. Not a great start, obviously, but all the way up to the Nintendos and the Sega Mega Drives, an Amiga, Commodore Amiga. But I don't think we got our first PC in the house till about 1992. So that would have been my first experience of PC gaming. And I can even remember the first game that I got was, and it was the granddaddy of survival horror, being Alone in the Dark. 4 discs of just wonder and horror. And I don't mean the game. The game was, looking back, pretty terrible.
So, so just to ask real quick, to butt in, sorry about this, but what was your first CD-ROM?
My first CD-ROM, wow. I can actually remember going into the town where I live and buying a sound card and CD-ROM package, Creative, of course. For some extortionate amount, like £300 for a sound card or a CD-ROM. And I think the first CD-ROM I had was, let me try and think. I think it was Little Big Adventure.
Ah, yes, the classic.
Classic Little Big Adventure. That was, yeah. I found it really hard. I mean, I was really young back then. I was probably, I don't know, 11, 12 years old or so at the time. But I think that was probably the first CD game that we had. But yeah, PC gaming alongside my consoles. through my whole life. I'm surrounded by games consoles right now. We actually have 3 Nintendo Switches in this household. 2 PlayStations, an Xbox One, a PC. Well, actually, there's probably 3 or 4 PCs in reality. But as far as MMOs are concerned, I'm going to sound rather cliche here, but it was EverQuest. October the 10th, the day after my birthday, I created my first character.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, we're a little way off from that now. But yeah, I created my first character, my Shadow Knight, and I stepped out into the world of MMOs and basically got my ass handed to me for pretty much the following 3 or 4 years. With it being EverQuest and it just punishing you for not paying attention. So yeah, and since EverQuest, I've probably played 80% of the MMOs that I've been out since. Some of them for quite some time, some of them for not very long at all, due to the varying quality that we've had over the last sort of best part of 20 years.
See, that's a good way to put it. I just say they suck.
Well, when I say varying quality, I mean the scale is sort of like they suck to, oh my god, what were you thinking? Why did you even bother releasing this? You know, it's
Wow,
yeah.
There's nothing even in between. It's like you got sucked,
Really?
and then you got like, what were you thinking? It's not like, oh, this is alright. I can deal with this.
Well,
No.
I mean, I'm doing a couple of games, an injustice there. A couple of them I did stick with for a reasonable length of time. Rift I stuck with for a while. I didn't mind Rift. And I played Star Wars Galaxies for a while as well, actually a lot longer than I realised. But other than that, most of the games, the likes of Wildfire, Guild Wars 2, Asheron's Call 2, they generally didn't get much beyond a couple of months before I was like, this is just going nowhere. The first, 2 months in felt exactly like the first day of playing the game, and it was just so.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's rather extensive. The gaming background, as will my future be, no doubt.
Yep, we'll add to it. So what got you interested in Pantheon?
What got me interested in Pantheon? I'd have to say what first sort of like when I first realised it existed. It will have to be. I mean, this guy's been name dropped on your stream so many times, Carnage. I hate to say it, I'm actually a little bit of a fan of Street Fighter as well. So I do follow the Capcom Pro Tour on Twitch, and usually once that's finished, I'll then just browse the channels. And one day I stumbled across Ko, and I thought, well, this guy's quite cool. Let's see what he's doing on YouTube. And I went on YouTube, and I found probably his first Pantheon stream. And that was the first thing. That's the thing that first brought it to light to me. But the fact that Brad McQuaid was headlining it, and that it was going to be another group-focused MMO, that's all I needed to hear. I've been sick to death of playing MMOs like World of Warcraft, where I think back and like, yeah, I really enjoyed that game, and then I think, what did I enjoy about it? Raiding, and that was it. And it was just when you're with your friends. I mean, I soloed the entire leveling experience in World of Warcraft, and I hadn't realised it.
Yeah.
And the thought of logging into a game and thinking, right, I know I'm going to be in a group within 20 minutes, an hour, sort of thing, and then that's and then the rest of the evening I'm going to be making friends, making enemies, socializing, and I'm just so looking forward to it. I just really am so looking forward to being in that sort of environment again, because there hasn't been one since EverQuest, in my opinion.
Oh.
Yeah. So for you, what do you think is the most exciting thing about Pantheon?
The most exciting thing. To be perfectly honest, it's probably popping back to what I've just stated. Is the grouping side of it. The most exciting thing about it is modern technology. In an MMO that is group based, because obviously in the days of EverQuest, I mean, I think my first EverQuest PC had 32 megabytes of RAM. and it had 12 mega video RAM. I mean, what they did with such limited resources was incredible. Imagine what they're going to be able to do now with that group focus, with the sort of technology they've got now. I'm just really looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing.
Yes, it will be interesting to see because we're kind of in the age of technology where a creator can really do whatever they want.
Yeah.
It just comes down to time.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, I'm kind of still amazed. I think back to the first time I logged in, and I was running around with my Shadow Knight, and I was thinking, I've imagined this game my whole life, and it's finally here.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah. So what class and race are you? If you're not certain, if are you leaning towards the most?
Leaning towards, throughout my entire MMO career, there is one member of the Trinity that I've never played, and that is a tank. I've dabbled with healers. My first attempt at a healer was in Warhammer Online. But every other game I've played since then, I've always been DPS. I've been melee DPS, range DPS, magic DPS. I've been all of them, but I've never played a tank. And I thought,
What about your Shadow Knight in EverQuest?
I never tanked with him.
Oh,
See,
okay.
I got to, going back to EverQuest, I got to about level 20 with my Shadow Knight, and then I realised, you know what? I love these spells. So I then actually re-rolled a Necro, and my entire EverQuest career from then on was with my Necro.
Gotcha.
So that's where I left my Shadow Knight. So in that instance, I was looking, I was thinking, right, okay, this was several months ago, probably maybe a year ago. I'm thinking, right, warrior, I'm going to go pure tank, and I'm going to go into Pantheon, warrior, pure tank. Okay, brilliant. Then they started releasing the class descriptions and whatnot, and I'm like, maybe a wizard. Maybe, a Necro, maybe when they get released. But at this moment in time, I do want to play a tank. And I am thinking warrior. I did love the idea of the banners. I love the idea of the banners. I mean, in so World of Warcraft, you've got this, stance dancing. I can see us juggling banners, being in a battle where you're having to position, pull it, in and out of the boss, dumping your banners down in certain places and switching them out. I think it's just going to be such an active role. You're not just going to be stood there, taunt, auto attack, taunt,
Right.
auto attack. I can see where they're going with it, and I think it looks good.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I think it's
I'd be lying if I said I never considered the warrior.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I said, every time I read this, I've read the Druid, and the outlining of the Druid, and I thought, wow, that sounds amazing. I thought, no, I can't get too distracted. I decided a long time ago I'm going to play a tank and I'm going to be a warrior, but who knows? But yeah,
You gotta play what you feel in your heart.
yeah, I think so.
That's why I'm going to play a Dialord, because in my heart I hate everybody.
Yeah, because the Dialord sort of reminds me a little bit of in Rift, one of the souls that you could pick with the warrior class.
The Reaver.
Yes, was very close to the Dialord, and that's what I used to. I actually leveled up with a Reaver, and I thought, actually, yeah, because I think that could quite be fun as well. But I don't know. I think it's still early days. I think we're still a little way off, and we're still going to find out a lot of information with various classes as time moves on. Obviously, we still know very, very little about the Bard. We all know what the Bard typically plays, the role the Bard plays within a group, but we're still yet to see VR spin on that.
Yeah.
And I think that might actually sway quite a few people away, even maybe from Enchanters over to Bards, and maybe even some lights of Rangers or some.
It may happen to sway me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't picture you as a bard, Lex. I just can't.
It took me 15 years to actually play a bard in EverQuest, and when I did, I didn't really enjoy it at first. But then I kind of got up in there in levels, and now I was just like, oh my god, I can do literally anything I want.
My only memory of bards was I'd be a necro and I'd be running through a zone at a snail's pace, and I'd have a druid run past me with Sow on, and I'd be, oh, I wish they had Sow. At that point, a bard would fly past both of us at about Mach 3. I think we're both looking at it and going, oh. But yeah, it was. I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do. I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do with the bard. I really do, because they have pulled a blinder on every class so far, as I'm concerned. I think they've really
playing it close to their chest.
Yeah, and I think it's sensible. I think it's sensible. You know, like I said, I think they're still a way off, and they don't want to burn themselves out. They don't want to over, you know.
It's a slippery slope when you start revealing things that aren't kind of, written in stone.
Yes.
Because there is, out of the millions of people that could look or potentially even play, you change one thing and someone in there is going to just absolutely fall in love with what you just changed.
Well, it doesn't matter how you do it. You do it wrong anyway.
Yeah.
You know, you
and
can't.
Someone's bound to be upset.
That's it. You cannot please everybody all of the time. It's impossible.
Yep.
But I think they're doing a pretty good job. I think they're doing a pretty good job so far.
So what about your least favorite race and least favorite class?
Class, I would say monk. I've never been interested in monks. I don't know. Even when in EQ, when I was playing, when I rolled my necro, when the monks were released with the XRs, they just never interested me, and they never have done. In all honesty, I mean, as a necro, I had feign death. Who cares if a monk can do it? You know. So in that sense, I mean, I've never played one, so maybe if I was to tinker with one, I might change my mind. But monks have never interested me, and for the same reason, and the same thing. Race, dwarfs have never interested me either. Dwarfs have never interested me. I mean, my namesake is in fact my gnome rogue from World of Warcraft. So gnomes, all for gnomes, dwarfs. Nah.
So if you had to pick between playing a monk or playing a dwarf, which one would it be?
I'd rather play a dwarf than play a monk, because it's just the character. The class mechanics just don't interest me. Whilst a dwarf, you just go first person. You can just pretend you're not a dwarf. Just pretend you're a short, I don't know, scar.
I'm a short, hairy person. Oh wait, that's a little too close to the nose. Too on the nose for me.
No, so yeah. I mean, it's. I mean that's a real tricky one to say, really, to be perfectly honest. But I've never even gone down the list and gone monk. I've just been like, yeah, monk.
Next.
Yeah, exactly. But it's all personal preference.
Right. So, what are the mechanics that you're most looking forward to in Pantheon?
I think there's so much that they're bringing.
Pick one.
That's never been. The perception.
Not to put you on the spot, but you're kind of on the spot.
Yeah, the perception system, I think, is. I mean, they've not really told us anything. Essentially, they've said, okay, this is how you're going to pick up your quests. You're going to run around. You're going to get your pings. But that's what they've told us. So I'm super interested to see how this is going to be integrated, because they keep saying that it's integrated into a lot of things. The two skills, it's perception, and what's the linked skill to it? I can't remember.
Keeper or something, was it?
Yeah, but you got keeper. But there's two, wasn't there? There was perception and something that actually brings up the pings.
You've got the insight and the.
So it's the investigation one.
Yeah. That's the one.
Don't know why I went to Lorekeeper.
Well, that's what.
Hey,
if you pick it.
Keep that alive, Lex.
Never.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that could have so much power. I think that could be, if as long as they really integrate it into not just the lore, not just the quests, but if they can really put it into some of the class skills, into some of the raids and the dungeons, in progression through the dungeons as well, not just to get a piece of armor or to get an item or something like that. I mean, that really does interest me to see what they're going to do. I just hope to God that we don't get to the end and go, there you go, and it's essentially just a run around and collect your quests, but it does it automatically. But I don't think they're going to do that.
Right.
I'm really hoping they're not going to do that.
I think the majority of MMO fans are tired of that.
Oh God, yeah.
So even if that's what they want to do, they don't really have much of a choice.
No. But
now let's say you could get into Pantheon right now.
Yeah.
Where would you go and who would you kill? I mean, what would you do?
like I said earlier, if it speaks or it moves, it dies. I would go. I want to see Throne Fast. I don't know if any of you do you know when they did that stream of Co all those months and months ago when they did the building of a city, and you were stood at the start of that bridge and you saw the city in front of you. Did any of you think, my God, that bridge is long?
Yeah.
They started running. You're like, actually, that's a hell of a lot bigger when you get there.
Is it sad that I looked at that bridge going, God, I'm going to have to run over that thing like 100 times?
But he stood at the start of the bridge and you think, oh yeah, there's the city, and he starts running towards it and you're like,
it's not getting any bigger.
Wow, this is massive.
But it makes for that that immersion as well, because if you look at that bridge, right, and you picture a massive army going out with carts and carriages and horses and hundreds of guards and everything. It's exactly how you would picture that bridge looking.
Right.
Yes, and you just know that it's going to be a duel inside. That's where everybody's going to go to just kill each other. But yeah, I mean, I would head to Throne Fast. I would have an explore around Throne Fast. Then I would come out from that bridge, and I would just keep running. And I would keep running to the point of where I could run no further. I really would, as far as a level 1 could get, essentially.
It wouldn't be very far.
No, I don't know.
Oh God, a snake kicked me. I'm dead.
Well, okay, maybe I'll get some levels outside first then. But no, I mean that's what I'd love to do is just keep running until you hit the coast, and just take.
What happens if the coast is the other way though?
You'll come to a coast no matter which direction you run.
Well, it depends.
Just don't run long enough.
But no, I mean, yeah, that's it. I was really impressed with Throne Fast, what they were doing, and I can't wait to see the grand reveal when they finally got rid of those grey boxes and got it where they want. It's exciting. It really is.
So, tell us about one of your most standout or funniest moments in an MMO that you've experienced.
Standout would be probably my longest lasting memory would be in EverQuest, with my Necro. It was shortly after the release of Scars of Velius, and the thing is with EQ, and it's probably like something that's going to be a Pantheon as well, is that some of these items, they last. You get an item and you'll end up having it for 10, 20, 30 levels. And I was in Scars of Velius, and I was wearing robes that I'd been wearing for 20 plus levels, and I thought, right. And there was a named mob in a tiny little dungeon that dropped a set of crystalline robes, they were called, and they were amazing. They dropped off a mob called Queen Drachnia, and to be perfectly honest, she was on there was 2 placeholders. There was a 40-minute spawn rate, and there was a 50% drop rate, and you think that's pretty good odds. That is pretty good odds. It took me almost a month. It took me almost a month to get these robes, because you'd have to go into the dungeon, camp check, and you just hope, please don't say queen, please don't say queen, please don't, no queen. Oh, right. And you get down there, and you'd have, say, like a 4-hour play session, and you may get her once or twice in 4 hours. And whenever I got in, I was just unlucky on a 50% drop rate. But I tell you what, after those 4 weeks, when those robes finally dropped, I was It's even now, it makes me happy. It puts a smile on my face, and that was like 18 years ago. 18 years ago, and that sticks to my memory. Sitting down in that cavern, killing geonids and spiders, waiting for Queen Drachnia to finally pop, and then just keep my fingers crossed and hope I don't get another wand. But yeah, and that stuck with me, and it will stick with me. That will stick with me for forever. That really will. And funniest, I won't go into the day I gave a gnomish lap dance to the leader of the biggest guild on our server. There was a guild on our server called Purgatory Afterglow. I don't know if you're into your thrash metal. I think you probably know who released the album or something. And there was their guild leader was sat outside the bank one day, and we'd just finished a raid with my guild, and we came out and they were all jumping on him, and I snuck into the middle of the group, stripped naked, and clicked / dance. And then they all left. There was my little gnome just jiggling on his lap whilst he was sat on the steps.
Hey, everybody's got to make a living.
We entertained ourselves. Well, the raid was over, you know. We had to find something to do.
Cool. So, if you could pick 3 things to be implemented into Pantheon, what would they be?
You'll have to forgive Yarny's having a hard time getting the image of a gnome lap dance out of his head.
Well, I was just about to say gnome lap dances, to be perfectly honest. No. Right, I think something that's been brought up, but crafting. Okay, crafting. I've never been a crafter. I've never played an MMO that got it right. The only game that got it close was EverQuest 2, and that was close. So for me, I would like them to implement a crafting system that is not only worthwhile but is fun to do, but more importantly, I want epic patterns. I want legendary patterns, which, just like epic quests for items, take weeks and months to get. I want them to be rare. I want the items that they make to be even rarer. You know, I want some, you know, when you see somebody seeing somebody wearing one of these robes, you know exactly what that is, and you know exactly what they've had to go through to at least get the mats for it, let alone a pattern as well. So I think there should be, epic quests for patterns and recipes. You know, not just armor and weapons and stuff, but even food or jewelry and stuff like that. It needs to be worthwhile, and it needs to be rare. What else? I'm also a big believer in player travel. I'm also a big believer in the portals, the spires. There shouldn't be automatic portals from one side of the world to the other than maybe major cities. You know, single portal in major cities just to go from one city to the other. But that should be the limit of transportation, other than speaking to druid rings, wizard spires, those sort of things. So you do have to communicate. So it gives a revenue for those who can do so. I think, to me personally, that would be a great thing. I mean, EverQuest to me as a necro always felt huge, always felt dangerous, and there's not been many MMOs since then that have had that feeling. To me, it's important. To me, it's very important.
That makes it important.
It does. And I can remember. I remember the first time I went to Velius. My mate said, "Do it on foot." He says, "Follow this route and do it on foot." He says, "Because it will mean a hell of a lot more to you when you get there." And he was right, because it was a hell of a trek to Velius on foot. Yeah, hell of a trek.
Yep.
To me. And a third thing. What could we put as a third thing? Dancing gnomes? No. Naked gnomes. But in all honesty, I can't honestly think of anything particularly groundbreaking that I'd want to put in that VR haven't already hinted at, or at least covered in some aspect.
It doesn't have to sound groundbreaking. It could even be something that you really enjoyed from another title that you wouldn't mind seeing.
I mean, one thing I will say about Warhammer, the healers in Warhammer, I think it was Warhammer Online, where the healers were actually DPS, and they'd have to be at the front, they'd have to be battling, and you'd have your friendly target and your enemy, and you could heal using your abilities, using your DPS abilities. Now that actually, I actually quite like that idea. The only thing that that Warhammer failed on was the fact is that all the characters looked identical, which was really weird because
Yeah.
it was really odd. And I mean the healer class had a specific look, so it
Yeah.
was like it was a bit pointless. And also there was no character progression. As you moved on, nothing really changed.
Right.
But I kind of liked that idea of a DPS class being at the front, but also be healing. I thought that was kind of a cool idea, an interesting run on it. I'm not entirely sure how feasible that would be in the grand scheme of things.
When you played Rift, did you try the caster and try to do the healing through that? I don't remember what the soul was called.
No,
But you actually had to DPS in order to heal.
No, I only.
You know how I feel about that.
You stop being lazy.
No, I didn't. I only ever got a warrior up to level 50, and all the souls for the warrior. I didn't. And then I took a bit of sabbatical from it and came back to it and realised that they'd completely changed everything, and the rifts were no longer worth doing. And they ruined it. I'm not entirely sure what happened whilst I was away, but no.
Sadly, most of us who have played Rift did the same thing and felt the same way. Come back and like, what the did these guys do?
Yeah, I mean, I was there on like day one. And when the servers were populated and the zones were populated, those rifts would appear, and it was like school kids playing football. Everybody would just head to the rift.
Yeah, you drop what you were doing and you go and have a good time.
And it was great. And then it kind of died off and whatnot. But
one of those cases, I feel that it's like the core or the soul of the game was basically sold off to the lowest bidder. But we're not here to get into it.
No. Indeed.
So, what is the number one thing from the game tenants that stand out to most to you, and why?
If I'm understanding the question correctly, I think the weather, the environment being this almost like an NPC, an active environment that when it rains, when it snows, when there's fog, when there's wind, it means something. The environment changes and it's going to have an effect on you and how you're playing and what you're doing. And I think that could be a complete game changer in many senses.
Yep.
Absolutely, the fact that
Wizards,
the world actually matters.
Wizards, don't electrocute yourself when it's raining.
I will, just because.
Oh God! Oh no!
Just to see what happens.
The amount of times the bloody Wizards killed the group again. But no, I mean it's just the whole premise of that. I just got so many ideas of how they could use that, with various, with the fogs and with, like you say, with the rain. You obviously let's not do any electric-based spells.
Just imagine though, right? You're in this dense forest or something. You got all your torches out, and this massive breeze of wind comes along, and the torches get blown out, and it's pitch black now all of a sudden. You manage to catch fire or something like that, while standing there, and there's big, massive monsters just standing right in front of you, ready to gore you.
You know exactly what's going to happen. We're going to be in Discord. The wind's going to blow out all the torches. Someone's going to do a really high-pitched scream, and then everyone's going to go, "Wow, Lex, what the hell?" I'll do it just because.
no, but honestly, it's. I mean, when they started saying, I just love little details like,
Yeah.
not just having rain, but having storms, having
Mm.
different levels of rain, and when there's storms, there's puddles,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I want to feel immersed. I want it to matter.
You just had me with you. I'm just thinking back on your dwarf. I can imagine a dwarf. Careful, puddle. Hey, where did he go?
He
So
jumps in a puddle and
I've
disappears.
got my budgie smugglers on. It's fine.
Oh god. So, moving on to the Pantheon difference. What is the number one thing that you want to see in game the most?
Number one thing I want to see in the game most it's going to, I suppose it's going to be going in, logging into the game and just being in an environment where you're very rarely going to see people running around on their own.
Mhm.
Everybody's going to be in groups to, pairs. There's going to be 3 up to 6. Everywhere you go is just going to be groups of people. And I think, the real difference is going to be this is going to grow the community to a level that's not been seen for a very long time. I mean, when EverQuest was out, there were not the tools online to support such a community. There was, you'd have a few people were lucky enough to have people who could make websites for their guilds and stuff. I mean, nowadays it's, well, every other person you meet is a web developer. And,
It's so true though, every second person dictates themselves as a web developer.
What I mean, in a sense, is that you can. I mean, even I, a mechanical design engineer who handles in sheet metal nuts and bolts, go onto these awful websites and make my own. It's the facilities are there now to have such a community, and there's been no need to have a community for a very long time in any of these MMOs, and
Ain't that the god honest truth?
this is just gonna set the internet alight. I think it's we're gonna have such a community that's well, we're gonna have such a community. It's gonna be incredible.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yep, definitely.
I mean, it's already there. The game is probably, I don't know, 18 months, 2 years off from release. I haven't got a clue. And yet it's already setting the internet alight. It's.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a couple out there that are struggling to keep the light on, but it's certainly made an impact.
Definitely. So, if you could spend a day with a single person from VR, who would it be and why?
I have to say, from the various streams that I've seen with Co and various people and whatnot, I like Ben. I like Ben Dean. I think we share a sense of humour, and I think we get on like house on fire. To be perfectly honest, he's I like the guy. I think he's very funny. I'm not going to say like, oh yeah, Brad McQuay. It's it's all about Ben for me. I like that guy.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is you need to get a Ben Dean tattoo. Yarn can get his Brad tattoo, and you guys can like go meet up and do photo op.
Yeah, we could do Brad and Ben tattoo day. So we've heard about you playing like warrior, shadow knight, necromancer, this, that, and the other. So I presume you're main for game, or are you actually a secret alcoholic?
No, I'm a main. My play time is going to be limited. It really is going to be limited. It's not going to be like it was when I was 21, unfortunately. So for me, it's going to be best if I just focus all my available play time into one character. Yeah. Because I want to be known for that character. I don't want to be known for if you message Volley, you might bring Valley on, who's his healer or something like that. I don't want to be one of them. I want to be in a position where I log in with my warrior, and within a few seconds, I'm getting tells saying, "Oh, please, can you come and tank for my group? Can you please come and tank? Oh, hello, buddy, how you doing? We're putting a group together up so and so. Do you want to come along?" That's where I want to get to. I don't want to end up with 6 or 7 level 20s as opposed to 1 level 50. For me, that's how it worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have a guild preference?
A guild preference? What do you mean? Raiding guild?
In terms of what type of guild?
Raiding guild. I love raiding. I really do. I love the organising, the build up. When I used to play World of Warcraft, we had a guild. And we were a fairly small guild, fairly small. We only had about 30-40 members. We had about 15 core raiders, so we only did 10 man, which was plenty for us. And I would typically be the chap who explained the tactics on new boss fights, and I'd also be raid caller, and I loved it. It really was great. We had such fun together. We really did, and I miss it.
So would you do an 8-hour raid?
Oh yeah, for sure. assuming I can drop the lad off at he can watch, and assuming my other half's on nights, I'll do an 8-hour raid. I mean, this is the thing that's really works. Like when I think back to EverQuest, it was a lot bigger in the US than it was in the UK. So if I ever logged on during the day, the servers were empty. It wasn't till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night where the servers really started to fill up. So my playtime on EQ back in the day was from pretty much midnight till 4 or 5 in the morning. Anyway, just to make it worthwhile. But yeah, I mean, it would be great to do that again, but unfortunately I've got like work and stuff like that.
Yeah, life hit you in the face, didn't it?
It's still hitting me in the face. It's like no.
Once you hit a certain point in life, you kind of feel like you're just in a straitjacket, and life is a boxer just taking shots. No matter what you do, you're just like, oh God, help me.
No, I mean, it is. I have to say, it is one of my slight concerns for me personally is my ability to put the time into it that I'm going to want to, and I'm really scared that I'm going to get a group, get a really good group, get some good friends and whatnot, and then not be able to get on for a week or two, and by the time I've come back, they've out leveled. I think the progression is going to be slow enough that it's going to be only extreme cases where perhaps that's going to happen. But yeah, it is a bit of a concern for myself. But there's nothing they can do about that. We can't. We don't want to be.
Hey, if your friends are really friends, they'll wait a week.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't want 50 levels of hell levels from EQ.
See, this is why I don't have any friends.
Oh.
I don't have to wait. You see now, Yarn's like, I couldn't play for a week. Will you wait? Ha!
Is that your usual sign off from a group? I hate you all. Hope to never see you.
Oh yes. That's actually how he starts the game. That's actually how he starts the group. He'll blow you up, get you killed.
We all log into Wildlands. I'm like, I hate you both. I'm going to mortar you.
Just so you know, guys, I hate you all.
Hey, at least you're honest, Lex.
That's true. I tell you exactly how I feel, no matter what. But okay, so let's move on here. Do you happen to have any interests outside of gaming? I'm going to assume yes.
Yeah, I do.
You've got to be a soccer fan or a football fan in our case.
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
Really?
No.
Really? Wow! I'm shocked. What's happening with the UK?
I've never been into football.
Waking up.
Sorry, soccer. I was saying that I actually used to like American football when I was growing up, or football as you call it. But no, I'm not. In all honesty, my only other passion really is I've got an old 1994 Toyota Celica GT4 sat 2 meters behind this screen that I've had for 16, coming up 17 years. That I've heavily modified. That's running about 500 horsepower and pretty much takes every penny that I've got.
Nice.
So yeah, it's that's pretty much. What else? What else do I like? Oh, I've got a marine fish tank as well. So what the car doesn't take out my pocket, the fish tank does. But that's about it, really. It's yeah.
Yeah. Hey, at least you got something that keeps you kind of sane, because gaming doesn't usually do that.
No, well, I mean, I just, as I sort of get older. Oh my god, I sound so old. As I get slightly older,
Don't say that. I'm gonna feel old.
As I get older, no, I get less and less time to play games anyway. To be perfectly honest, by the time I get home, walk the dogs, cook the dinner, walk the kid. You sit down and you're like, I'm just going to go to bed. It's like, no, I must play for an hour.
I have to.
I have to. I must.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to longer gaming sessions, like let's say a raid, do you happen to have like this kind of ritual you go through beforehand?
I do. I
walk
usually...
the dog, Lex. Take the kid for a walk. Put the wife to bed.
Strip naked, dance. No. Yes, I do. To be perfectly honest, I'll get into sort of like some comfy clothes, sort of tracky bottoms and a t-shirt. My computer desk is actually a complete mess right now. I have to clear my computer desk. It's got to be just keyboard.
Which is how you do that. You did the swipe. It's like I have to clear my desk.
Clear my desk. And yeah, and essentially just make myself a drink and just get myself comfortable and just get the chair comfortable. Get the it's a fairly new edition actually. Got it for Christmas off my other half, a Corsair gaming chair, and yeah, I literally just what's all to do with comfort for me, and then get these headphones on, of course. Get the Sennheisers rolling.
I think you're the first person that's actually been on a Q&A that says you do have a ritual, almost like a pre-game ritual.
I have to. And the other thing is reset your router. I always reset the router.
Yeah. And the sad thing is up until this point, I've kind of felt like I'm a freaking weirdo because I have my own gaming ritual, especially when I raid.
So do I. I pray that my PC hand lasts.
Every time you boot the thing, you're praying and sacrificing chickens. Just like one more day, please, just one more day.
It's just like we got a skip full of dead goats in the back garden.
And then I usually get a couple messages that have quite we'll say imaginative use of curse words. Usually revolving around his PC.
I wish I had a second one. I would film me beating the shit out of this.
Give it a phone, man. Give it a phone. Go all freaking Office Space on it.
I'll throw it off the roof.
We've come down to the final and most important question. I'm going to tell you right now, Josh is off the table. He's not here. He's busy going on a cruise without me. But who is the VoT host with the most?
Lex is great.
My man!
No, you told me to say that if I didn't have an answer.
Exactly. And it works for me every time.
No. Yeah. You, Lex, of course. I'd hug. You're up there on my screen, so hug.
You won the dice roll. I'll take a win, no matter how I get it.
No, damn right.
Right, so do you have any final words for VR, for the community?
Oh, just for VR, just keep going and do not release it until you are ready. Do not let anybody, if there's aspects of that game that aren't quite right, wait and get them right. we'll wait. We've waited 14 years already for something to come along that's going to be half decent. We can wait another, not 14 years, but a little bit longer.
That is true, chat. There is a T-shirt for Lex Hugs.
No, there isn't. You can burn it.
That reminds me about T-shirts as well. The Community Matters T-shirts that we have on sale from the community, they will be extended for another week. So you have until the 22nd of next week, or of this month, to grab yourselves a hashtag Community Matters shirt. So I highly recommend you check that out. I'll put the link into the video once it's uploaded to YouTube afterwards. Definitely check it out. And that kind of concludes our player Q&A.
We do have some questions from the audience.
Oh, we do? Okay, so Shy, welcome back.
We have two questions. And they're both from our own Kel. And he'd like to know, do you want epic weapon quests? And should they be upgradable?
Me? Yes, I think for most definitely epic weapon quests and legendary quests. Upgradable, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about upgradable. Maybe if they're to be upgraded, then there has to be a visual element to it. Because you need to be able to look at that person and go, oh, he's got the sword or whatever, and oh my god, it's got the blue light on it. That means he's done the so and so. So maybe the upgrades are secondary quests, or an extension of it, or maybe when expansions come out, they give them the ability to do it. But there's got to be a visual element. So when somebody runs past you and you see it, you go, I know what that is. That's amazing. To me, it's all about the kudos.
And the next question, and the final question, what type of raid mechanics would you like to see to make it interesting? Since you're a big raider.
Raid mechanics, the thing that used to really drive me up the wall with WoW is how they made raids more difficult. Was they'd give you a boss and then they just throw ads at you. It's like, I don't want ads. I want fighting the boss, not his mates. So I'd want raid bosses where you're only fighting that boss and that boss is only fighting you, and the mechanics of the boss are they need to be varied and they need to be interesting. I mean, you get a bit of rinse and repeat, obviously, over time. I'd like some raid mechanics that rely on the environment as well. So you have got maybe a boss where you have to kite him into different rooms within a dungeon, and each room has a different environment, has these different fogs that basically nullify certain spells, or you need to get him in the room where it's raining because it will stop him from doing something. I'm sick to death of just wave after wave of ads. It's unimaginative and it's just annoying.
Have you played that Neverwinter Online one?
I haven't, no.
The first year that it was out, every single boss fight was literally ads at 75%, 50%, and 25%.
It's lazy.
Every single one.
It's lazy.
Yeah.
It's really lazy. It's just like, what can we do? We got to this point. How do we make it harder? Well, what we'll do is on 10 man we'll put 4 ads in, and on 25 man we'll put 10 ads in. It's like,
right.
Come on, guys, earn your money.
It's like, or you could use your brains.
Oh yeah.
God forbid.
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I don't mind fighting, say, a boss that splits into 2, and you have to sort of like off tank it and do stuff like that. But I just don't want meaningless. I mean, essentially, they're dots that you have to DPS.
Right.
So,
there are cases where ads do make sense, but not every case.
No, and unfortunately, every case tends to get them. So, annoyingly. But no, to me, yeah, I think the boss fights need to be epic and engaging and meaningful. We keep on throwing these words around. They all seem to apply to Pantheon.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of this Q&A. Next week we will be doing Tavern Talk. since that's basically came back, and it's technically not the third week, or is it the third? Well, I can't quite remember. But we'll be determined to talk next week, and hopefully next week my PC will be purring like a little kitten.
That's funny.
with the replacement board that Vicious has graciously sent me. So rest in peace. Rest in peace, you piece of shit.
I'm going to start a pool of what people think is going to happen. If it's going to run better, it's going to run worse, or it's going to run well.
I feel honoured that I was brought on the stream on Jan's last outing with his current PC.
It's gonna.
It's the end of an era.
It is. It hurts. It's annoying. You piece of crap. Yeah. So hopefully I'll be back up, and it'll take us some time to get everything running. But yeah, we'll join you all hopefully next week. If not, Lex will inform you guys and let you know that hey, yeah, I'm broke. You're the PC too. So.
There may or may not have been fire involved.
Yeah. So yeah. Thanks for joining us, Volley, again. It was great having you on.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
Chat, thanks for being there, and hopefully things will get better. And Josh should actually be back next week as well. I think he said the 18th when he's back, so he should be there for Saturday. Next Saturday, Josh will be with us. So we'll see you all next week. Have a great rest of the weekend, and till next time.